This is Manchester Voices, a podcast run by students at the University of Manchester.
Hey guys, it's Khadijat. I'm a management marketing student in my final year.
Hello, I am Dorsa and I am a second-year biotechnology student.
Hi, I'm Dara. I'm a postgrad and I study cognitive neuroscience and neuropsychology. It sounds way fancier than it is.
And today we have a special podcast about mindfulness techniques.
What does a mindfulness exercise look like?
So I've got a lot of them.
Okay.
List them.
So one of them is self-acceptance. So
Okay.
this one, I would actually look myself in the mirror. And it's very daunting to actually look at yourself in the mirror because it's you see yourself in the mirror when you're doing makeup or when you're passing the mirror getting ready to go out. But when you actually sit to have a conversation with yourself in front of the mirror, it's very jarring because you see yourself for the first time.
Staring right into your soul.
Yeah, you stare straight back into your soul. It's kind of creepy. But anyways, and then you just start to talk to yourself and eventually the dialogue will pick up. You will figure out the things that bother you because you get comfortable with looking at yourself in the mirror and it becomes you're having an actual conversation with somebody, and eventually you kind of figure out the things that you're insecure about because you're having that conversation. From there you could pick out the things that you want to work on and probably 3 times a week practice affirmations as well as just acceptance speech. So I wouldn't tell somebody to say I have the best body in the world if you don't believe that. Say for me, I guess I recently got diagnosed with PCOS, so I just put
Same.
Oh no, it's not fun. But yeah, so with the weight gain that I had now, I had to tell myself, I'm grateful to my body for the fact that I can still walk, I could still, make my favorite breakfast. I don't like the way you look right now, but I am going to pour love into you and make you functional. So self-acceptance speech is much different from affirmation. Don't use affirmations and lie to yourself. So figure out which of those 2 things work for you more. Just this is the position I'm in, I'm grateful for what I have right now and I'm going to work towards. Affirmation is, some people can't even think of 5 things they like about themselves. So I always suggest to people to ask the genuine people in your life 5 things they like about you.
Okay.
And ask yourself if you believe those 5 things and use that as your affirmation. So, for example, most people would say, I'm kind. So I'll be I love my kindness. I love whatever. And then eventually, you will start to see the good in yourself as well and be able to build your own affirmations. So all those things you do in front of the mirror, just breath work in general. So what I like to do is just lie down on my bed and just deep breath in, deep breath out. And when I've done that a couple of times, I then kind of just focus on my body and try to figure out where I feel tense.
Right.
So I've noticed I hold tension in my shoulders. So as I do the breath work, I release the tension from my shoulders. When I feel that tension is gone, I move to another area that's very tense, which I didn't realize I hold on to my fists a lot. So I have to practice letting go until my entire body feels detensed. And somewhere along there I start talking to God because why not?
I mean, why not? Yeah.
So it's retraining your nervous system to not be in fight mode all the time because a lot of the times anxious, I think at least, because this is not based on science, anxious people hold a lot of tension in their body. And it's the practice of training your body when you're not anxious to not be anxious. So when you're actually in anxiety inducing situations, your body is already trained to know how to let that go.
Yeah.
That's
just
helpful.
to piggyback off that, because that just reminded me of something that I do. And I completely agree. I mean, we might have to get a scientist to back us up. That anxious people do hold their anxiety in their body. They add, because you get tense, you stiffen up, you actually make your body smaller when you're in an anxiety-stricken state. So when I do my exams and I'm in an exam hall and I'm getting anxious, I tend to bang my leg up and down, move it up and down, or tap my fingers on the desk. And what I would do is I would just stop and I would make my posture expand, I expand my posture, and I will relax. Because now looking back and knowing a little bit about psychology, I'm not Dara, but I was tricking my body into believing that I was calm. I mean, my mind into believing that I was calm because I made my body calm, because your mind and body really are connected. So that's definitely a golden nugget from Dara. So yeah.
I think the fact that you train yourself for anxious situations, that's really, really interesting, because I feel like recurring anxiety has made me react as if I'm experiencing anxiety when I'm not. So I'm constantly like shaking my leg up and down even when I'm like completely fine.
Yeah. No, you have to look at, like, it's one of those things where you have to pay attention to yourself and notice these little things and then train yourself to stop doing it. So for example, like, I'll use like the most lame example, but like in past dating experiences, like I would sometimes not look at somebody eye to eye. Now, like, I make sure to make that eye contact and remind myself this is just a person. Like, I don't need to be nervous. And then I get to fully be myself. Now, I've taken that into interviews when I'm talking to, like, potential employers. So everything we do transfers over in different ways that you don't even realize. So I'm like, practice everything from your youth. I'm still young, but you know, your youth are youth.
Wise words from Dara. But yeah, and back to what you said about self-acceptance, words of self-acceptance and not positive affirmation and stuff like that, and the difference. Because sometimes it's hard to believe things about yourself, that say things about yourself and believe it when you don't believe it or something like that. I practiced fake it till you make it for a while. And one practice that I did was I actually did this. I actually listed all the things I believed about myself, negative things I believed about myself, every single thing about how socially awkward I was and how I have no friends and how I don't think I'm that smart and all that kind of stuff. And on the opposite page, I rewrote all those things into positive things. Not thinking about myself, just like logically, I just changed the opposite words. So did you find the
silver lining in them, or did you like revert them into positive
I
statements?
changed every single sentence into a positive sentence, right? Like on the next page. And those positive sentences, whether I believe them or not, I said them every day. I really did say them every day. And then I started to believe it. Like, I actually now I go around like I've got loads of friends and like I'm confident and all that stuff.
Yes, you are a slay.
Oh yeah.
Queen.
I feel like there's this interview with Rihanna I saw once, and someone asked her how she did it, and she was like, "You fake it till you make it, girl.
Yeah.
You fake it till you make it."
Exactly. Yeah. How do you manage your well-being in general throughout the year?
With a lot of help.
Yeah, support is so important.
I think I like talking to like my sister or my friends, the people I live with.
Yeah.
Just telling them like, hey, I kind of feel this way. Can you like either validate me or distract me and like help me logically figure out where I can go from here.
Yeah. And knowing who to go to, right? Because
definitely knowing who to go to. Because some people just might like make you feel worse. Or not even that. You just like have had a good experience with someone in the past. So you just go to them.
What do you do in the times when, because we're all human, right?
Yeah.
And the person you go to, maybe they're not in the space to validate you or uplift you as well. What do you do in the times when you go to somebody for help or reassurance or something and they don't give it to you and you have to do it yourself? Like, you have to basically...
I wasn't always able to do that. Like, I think a few weeks ago I had a panic attack, and normally I might like go to one of my friends, but they were all busy, so I calmed myself down and I was very surprised, and I just like looked back and I thought to myself, how did you do this? And it was just like a lot of logical thinking. So I think I can always like differentiate between the logical and the emotional sides of my responses to situations, but I always let the emotional side win. But if I just keep repeating the logical side of it, it helps me like regulate myself and calm down.
So you're like, what are the facts of the matter? Like, I'm not thinking about the what ifs. What are the actual concrete facts that I can actually prove
back into context?
Or like if for example someone has upset me or I've taken something personally, I have to think about it, be like, Dorsa, this was not personal. Dorsa, this is what they said. Let's break it down. It meant nothing to them. You're the one that's hurt. This is why. This is something that's happened in your past that made you feel like this is a personal matter, that is something that's triggering for you. just think of it like that. Break it down like a therapist might.
And
And
be your own
therapist.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
more affordable, isn't it?
Oh dear. Some people should not be their own therapist. We should not.
Some people need actual therapy.
But I will say rationalizing is not always the best thing, though.
Really?
Like, yeah, because I've realized I used to do that all the time
Yeah.
too, and it worked for a while to the point that, like, I rationalize to the point I'm paranoid now about relationships.
Okay.
So I would say, like, it's good to do in moderation. I think all things are good to do in
Yeah.
moderation, but you'd be surprised that something like that could turn into something.
But I see it. It could turn
Yeah.
into like invalidating your feelings or invalidating something that someone has like said to you. If someone's hurt you, you might just like accept it and look over it because
Yeah.
this is just my trauma.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier
Yeah.
that you managed to stop yourself from overthinking, like you don't overthink now.
Yeah, I
so
don't anymore.
what do you do to stop yourself from overthinking?
Well, I don't do it anymore.
No, but like when, like, okay, how did you get there?
Honestly, like, this is something I've only realized like a month ago, that it is the accumulation of me practicing good mental health practices and choosing the best choices to me, even if they aren't the choices I want to make. If it's one thing that my dad taught me that I will carry with me for the rest of my life, it is lovely summer evening. It is like, you know, the blue and purple of the sky, and we're driving down the highway, and he's dropping me off to my apartment to uni for the first time. And he's like, Dara, the one thing I want you to take away from me is 5 letter? 5 or 6, I can't do math right now. 5 or 6 letter word, and it was choices.
Okay.
And he's like, every single choice you make has a consequence, and you need to ask yourself if you're okay with that consequence. Something as simple as the cereal you eat. So for example, I have PCOS now. Literally, the cereal I eat could spike my sugar and make it worse. To something as big as the friends I choose.
Right.
Mm.
I think it was just like spending my early 20s making good choices.
Or just choices that you were comfortable with the consequences.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, like, something I believe in, this is not endorsed by the university, this is solely by me. I believe in something that I like to call the phoenix, and there are times where I think you have to crash and burn in order to learn from a mistake. Because I remember there was this time in undergrad where I was just so broken, and because I had grown up Christian, I was like, I need to do the right Christian thing, pray about it, blah. Prayer did not work. God forgive me for saying that, but I actually went to God and I was like, Lord, I am going to go down a path that is not very Christian, but I need to do this in order to overcome what I'm going through. So I was very measured about the decisions I made, but I still allowed myself to crash and burn a bit, and then I came out of it because I knew I wanted to fight to be better. So I would say it was not a perfect road. I don't want anybody to think like the steps to becoming a much more calm person has been perfect at all. Like, I've been messy, and I've also like practiced good things. So it's a mixture of making the best choice you can and the choice that will help you to grow.
If you've got a topic you want us to discuss, drop us a message on Instagram at officialuom and mention Manchester Voices. Our jingle was created by student Maisie Illul.